A Bluetooth headphone tuned correctly? The apocalypse is upon us. Greetings, mate. Welcome aboard. Stuart Charles here, HomeStudioBasics.com, helping you, yes you, make sound decisions. So, before we get started, like the video, comment, subscribe if you're getting value, hit the bell, and heck, even join the Patreon if you really think I'm a funny guy. Out of all the Bluetooth consumer headphones and IEMs I've tried, around zero are tuned correctly. It's a sad state of affairs, but this is what happens when you put the responsibility of sound design in the hands of companies looking to make a quick buck off of unsuspecting noobs who don't have a clue. Enter the Kiwi Ears Ardor, a headphone that sounds like a cross between lounging on the beach in Hawaii and something out of a J.R.R. Tolkien novel. Nevertheless, this headphone deserves high praise and plenty of accolades, if only because it provides a frequency response that doesn't make me want to blow my brains out. In comparing it side by side with my closed-back benchmark FT1, the Ardor holds its own and then some, providing plenty of bass impact in the right areas while cutting 200 to 300 Hz and keeping bloat, bleed, mud, etc. to a minimum. More on that in a bit. Not only that, but the resolution here is exceptional for a consumer product, and while not as open sounding as an FT1, it performs admirably and never feels like you're listening to music inside a cardboard box about 59 feet underwater. If you're familiar with my blog and this channel, you'll know that I hardly ever recommend anything new because it's all bullshit and it's bad for you.
It's all bullshit. That's what you have to remember as you go through life in this country. It's all bullshit. And it's bad for you.
Yes, it took around 20 men to piss poor Bluetooth products for me to get to this point, but the Ardor has restored a little bit of hope that some companies actually know what they're doing and or give a crap about making a worthwhile product. Is it perfect? Nope. The elevated shelf from 0 to around 40 Hz or so makes them sound muddy with certain tracks and needs to be brought down a few dB. The FT1 can get away with its also very boosted shelf because the soundstage is so good. Here it's just not quite up to snuff, but I'm more concerned with the sound overall as the basis for if I ultimately decide to recommend something. And the Ardor should be recommended out of general principle because it doesn't do exactly what you're not supposed to do. Don't worry.
Don't worry. I'm not gonna do what everyone thinks I'm gonna do. Flip out, man.
It mostly avoids the pitfalls of your average consumer trash, and that's certainly not a bad thing like lust and gimber take. Justin Timberlake. I'd say you're gonna want to listen to these with hip hop, EDM, and generally genres that place emphasis on bass. They work pretty well for indie pop, shoegaze, dream pop, but can sound a bit clammy at times. As always, a lot of this depends on the track and how it was engineered, but I'd be lying if I said the bass was perfect. It needs a bit of refinement. It's pretty tight like firm booty, but needs to continue working on that ass before we go doing cartwheels and shit. One of the main reasons the Ardor works so well is because it takes advantage of a recent trend in audio. Boosted subbass, boosted bass at 60 to 90 Hz, i.e. the most important region for slam and impact, a cut at 200 to 300 Hz, a mid-range rise to compensate, and a bright neutral treble. It just sounds good, and more companies should unlock it like Hyundai if they want me to recommend their product every day and twice on Sunday. What? Bars! No, really, FIO has set the bar for this kind of sound and can make a closed back seem pretty open. I think more companies need to get with the program. I've damn sure never heard of Kiwi Ears, but they are to be taken seriously. If I were some other snot-nosed reviewer recommending these, you'd know to click away immediately. But I'm not a snot-nosed reviewer. When my thoughts turn into prose, I leave all MCs skewered. I tell you the truth, and most people can't handle the truth. Seriously though, buy them if you're looking for a $100 quality Bluetooth set. They're built well, they're pretty comfortable, and they come with a user manual that's a booklet rather than a roadmap. Both things are good things, but one of those things should stick to giving me directions. They take calls, the button layout is easy and makes sense, and they're compact and come with a super rugged carrying case. Heck, they even survived my tent getting flooded out in a rainstorm at the beach. Usually if something audio related gets wet, it's toast. But the Ardor is a real trooper and will even give you a little kiss if you ask nicely enough. Mwah! So far it's keeping a charge rather well, but time will tell if this holds up or not. More on sound. Mid-range. Because the mid/high bass is out of the way, resolution is excellent, all things considered. Do these sound refined as some audiophile type headphones? Certainly not, but they don't have to. On Boards of Canada's Nothing Is Real, you can hear all sorts of weird grumblings that the artist injected into the track, adding to the immersion. Additionally, separation is quite good for a headphone this cheap, as nothing overlaps or sounds like a mishmash of blended together nonsense. Still, vocals on Guillotine, Swords from Ghostface Killah, and Raekwon are present and accounted for, if a bit muddled. By contrast, the FT1 enables them to sound clearer and more lively. Moreover, there's an element of claustrophobia that I just can't shake, as the Ardor could certainly use some openness and better soundstage. It just feels a bit clammy at times, but these aren't deal breakers by any means. In some ways, this in-your-head feeling should be somewhat expected, as this is a closed-back consumer Bluetooth headphone, but I would still urge Kiwi ears to find a way to improve in this regard. I think EQing the sub-bass down can certainly help, but the sound and overall resolution aren't quite as good as the FT1. Another trend in audio is to keep the treble neutral to bright neutral, and the Ardor does an excellent job of towing the line between overly bright and too dark. Hats and cymbals on In My Life by the Beatles are just right, sound realistic, and the good resolution again comes through at 1:46 seconds. There's a twang from a guitar panned hard left that sounds much more noticeable and immediate than I ever remember, contributing to the Ardor's revelatory qualities and overall well-tuned profile. This guitar and many other guitars in other songs are lively and engaging without going crazy or sounding too forward. Guitars on C. Lemon's Eraser likewise are clear and present, sounding well integrated in the mix and never coming across as shouty or in your face. As much as I love indie pop, shoegaze, and dream pop, I don't think the Ardor works best with these genres. Crunchy guitars like those on Mount Kimby's Dumb Guitar just don't slap or come through as clear or as hard as I'd like. Percussion is also a bit lacking here, sounding a bit flat, but again, pay attention to the track and how it was recorded. Overall, the resolution and mid-range fidelity are definitely up to snuff and help to elevate the Ardor over other crappy Bluetooth sets that are fairly ubiquitous at this point. Before we give a final verdict, let's go over some things I liked and some things that can be improved. What I liked: well tuned. The Ardor understands that the mid/high bass needs to be out of the way. Mid-range is boosted to compensate for the sub-bass boost, and treble is almost exactly where it needs to be. Crisp, without sibilance, but not overly dark either. Comfortable, durable, and portable. The Ardor is compact, utilitarian, and highly portable, easily stowed away with the included hardshell carrying case. Button layout and functionality. It's easy to use and intuitive. You've got your power button, volume buttons, and 3.5mm auxiliary jack on the right back cup, with your ANC and USB-C charging port on the back of the left cup. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. User manual. It's a small, easy to read booklet rather than a fold-out. I can't tell you how annoying it is to open up a user manual, roadmap, and want to pull my hair out because I look like a grandpa on a Saturday morning trying to read the newspaper. No dropouts or delays. The power on and power off voice is very warm and inviting. They also connect extremely fast with no dropouts or delays. Bravo. The R&L indicators on the inside of each cup, while a nice gesture and somewhat common in products at this point, are muted and can stand out a bit more. White or yellow, as in the case of the Atom Audio H200, would be better. Isolation. It's not bad, but they will leak from time to time and could stand to clamp a bit harder. Otherwise, it's a nice fit overall. Pads. They feel fine and comfortable, but they're not as plush or fat right out of the box, which is a tad concerning. A bit closed in. The Ardor, while well tuned, could stand to have better imaging. It's a bit blobby and doesn't quite work as well for certain genres that I've already mentioned: shoegaze, dream pop, indie pop, etc. Final verdict: the Kiwi Ears Ardor is a well-tuned, good-sounding headphone at a reasonable price. You're not quite getting audiophile quality, but it's certainly much better than the majority of consumer products I've reviewed, and holds its own admirably in comparison to my benchmark standard closed-back FT1. It's also super cheap and a rather easy purchase, all things considered. Click somewhere around here for my full review, and I'll also leave a link in the description.